Welcome, everybody, to Icon Coaching, our monthly webinar that we do every single month. It's going to be absolutely awesome today. I'm going to turn this thing over to the great Shon Kokoszka, that certainly is the founder of Icon Coaching, and he's going to have a whole lot to say. We've got some people to introduce you to right at the very beginning, and they've got some things that we're going to offer you. Every webinar, we want to make sure that you get offered different things for your business. And then we'll bring in our great speaker today, Mitch, and it's just going to be absolutely exciting. Somebody, let me just say this. I know they won't. Somebody lied to us, okay? Somebody lied to us. Welcome, everybody, to Icon Coaching, our monthly webinar that we do every single month. It's going to be absolutely awesome today. I'm going to turn this thing over to the great Shon Kokoszka, that certainly is the founder of Icon Coaching, and he's going to have a whole lot to say. We've got some people to introduce you to right at the very beginning, and they've got some things that we're going to offer you. Every webinar, we want to make sure that you get offered different things for your business. And then we'll bring in our great speaker today, Mitch, and it's just going to be absolutely exciting. Somebody, let me just say this. I know they won't. Somebody lied to us, okay? Somebody lied to us. And Mitch and Shon are going to be talking about that. Shon, it's all yours, baby.
Thank you so much, Rob. Rob Daniel, the CEO of Icon Coaching. He's steering the ship, guys. He's doing a great job. He's assembled an amazing team. And speaking of amazing teams, I'm going to introduce you to a few people today that can absolutely help you increase your production, increase your revenue, and increase your net worth. And that's exactly why we do this. We want to see you guys soar with your real estate careers, and adding line extensions, one easy way to make that happen. Now, Mitch Ribak, who's an author, he wrote a book called The Big Lie. We're going to be breaking that book apart today. We're going to share with you high level what it's all about, and we're going to get you to stop buying into some of the lies that exist in our industry. We're going to show you how to make more money in less time, and if we know that's what you want. So I first want to introduce Crystal. Why don't you share with our participants, just real quick, less than a minute if you can, why should somebody want to add a line extension to improve their net income, their net worth? Talk to me.
Hey, Shon, thank you so much. So thankful to be on here. Guys, if you are on this learning from Rob and Shon and now from Mitch, it's going to be amazing. Listen, who wants to make more money? All hands up. Who wants to make money doing the things you're already doing? We have a natural line extension. We are connectors and residual income, mailbox money, people call it, doing the work once and getting paid over and over for doing it. So if you're interested in making more money, learning all this, give me a call, Crystal, at 706-215-0535. Again, 706-215-0535. We could all make more money by...
Yes. Yeah, do me a favor, just post that to the chat if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
And guys, I would never endorse Crystal if I didn't absolutely 100% believe in what she brings to the table. She's going to give you an opportunity to do exactly what you're doing right now, get to wring it out of every relationship that you have in terms of helping them and helping yourself and your families at exactly the same time. So call Crystal, send her a text, schedule a 15-minute call with her, learn about what she has to offer, because there are people out there that are making tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month doing what Crystal's suggesting. So reach out to her, find out what she's talking about. She has a little shadow around what she's doing, and for good reason. So thank you for that, Crystal. Really appreciate you being here with us today. Next up, Jim Sullivan with All the Leads. Jim, take it away. Tell us about All the Leads and how we can help improve the production of every agent here.
Appreciate it, Shon and Rob. I'm not sure I can be as brief as Crystal, but I'll try. That was quick. Long story short, oh gosh, a dozen years ago, I was at a real estate convention. I saw people in line buying what I thought were really expensive buyer leads, internet leads, and I had the idea, can you imagine if we could find a way to get unique, highly motivated seller leads to agents and investors around the country? I've always had a lot of ideas. I took this one to my friend and partner, Tim, who started a dozen businesses over the years. And 10 years later, we have all the leads. And Tim, I'll let you in a minute or two, or how much time you want us to keep it real brief, right, Shon?
Yeah, ideally a minute. Let's be respectful of the time.
Tim, as quick as you can, tell them what we do and how we do it, please.
I'll give you the short elevator ride. And I just before you even start that, I also kudos to Mitch. Mitch, I've heard a lot about your book and heard it from other people as well. So I'm sure you guys are in for a fascinating hour. Hey, it's real simple. We put a program together. Initially, we were a lead vendor. We realized a long time ago that was not the right way to do this. A lot of people on the internet sell leads. We have a system. We provide the highest quality leads that you can find. We have a team of people that research data all day long. We're a company of 30 plus folks, full-time employees, and another 30 part-time folks who are dedicated to the process of doing this. In the probate area, in the divorce area, we work on late mortgage and other areas, but we build a system of marketing around the leads. We teach you how to do it. We offer lots of opportunities for coaching and training so that you can learn how to do it, what to say, when to say it, so that you know what to do and you're well prepared to do it. A lot of people avoid people in transition because it's challenging. There's emotion around it. We take away all the bad parts and leave you with the good parts, leave you talking to motivated buyers and sellers, and that's what we do. I will also, Shon, if it's okay with you, I'll post a couple of links in the chat for both our phone number, our dedicated account rep staff will take your phone calls, and also our website. You can engage with us in either of those or our online chat on the site or Facebook or anywhere you listen to podcasts. We do them once a week. We just finished our 503rd one an hour ago. So that's it. That's my 1 minute. The elevator has landed.
And make sure you tell them that you heard us here, mate. We'll make sure we give you an extra special deal for being introduced by Shon and Rob. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Tim. And guys, once again, I would never put somebody in front of you that won't undoubtedly help you improve your production. I've got many clients that are using all the leads and they are crushing it, guys. Based on feedback, I wanted to get this in front of you. The next person I want to introduce. Now, this is a line extension that every realtor should be taking advantage of. I want to introduce Greg Wareham. Greg, he's with the Federal Savings Bank. And Greg, just real quick, tell them, how can they make money on mortgage? Take it away.
So thanks for having me, Shon, and everyone. Great to connect. So we've created a very unique program at the Federal Savings Bank to provide an opportunity to real estate agents to become dual licensed on the mortgage side of the industry and on the real estate side of the industry. So you can get paid on the same transaction that you're handling for that buyer on the mortgage side. What makes us unique is that we're a federally chartered bank. And as a federally chartered bank, there's no need to take the 20-hour course or pass a state or federal test. So we've really created a unique opportunity to try to put you in a position where you can capitalize on the business that you're already semi or quasi involved in. So what I'm going to do is put my information in the chat. We'd love to invite you to a national discovery call that I host on Fridays so we can provide some additional information.
Thank you so much, man. Said, guys, never say it with blah, blah, blah. If you can just say it with blah, no doubt about that. So without any additional delay, I want to introduce Mitch Ribak. And Mitch is an author. He's a very successful realtor. I think he's selling hundreds and hundreds of homes per year. And yet he learned a better way of doing it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How to really wring out the time you invest, how to do twice as much in half the time. So Mitch, why don't you introduce yourself, give us a little background, give us a story. Where did the idea from the book come from? That sort of thing. Take it away.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me here. I really appreciate it. And hey, everybody. I actually know a bunch of you people here on here. I've seen most of you guys, right? Look at Pete Middleton, one of my best friends. So yeah, so here's the deal. Do you want to sell more homes and have a life? Because that's the thing, right? Do you have a life? Most people don't have a life. I spent my career, I've sold over 1,000 homes, average 80 plus homes every year, worked 80 hours a week. And that was the whole premise of this book. I got into real estate and let's start back a few things. I'm a chronic entrepreneur. I've owned 27 companies. I was the first online dating service. I was the third biggest paintball business in the world. I had restaurants. I had ad agencies. I've had real estate brokerage. And I lost $82 million in 2000. and go, all right, what do I do next? After crying for 3 days and drinking a lot. And then I got my real estate license because I literally had no money. It was the only thing I could get, only business I could start for no money. So I got my license. I sold 36 homes my first year, 50 my second, 80 my third. I did exactly what I was told to do when I was in real estate school, sell a lot of homes. So then what's the next progression? I started a team. So I started a team at the brokerage I worked at and did well. I had 6 agents. And I noticed my personal production went down about 25%, 30%. And that began my babysitting journey, which was very exciting. And by the way, I'm going to say things that might offend some people today. I hope I don't, but I'm sorry. I'll apologize ahead of time. It's like when I wake up in the morning and I look at my wife, I apologize for everything I will do wrong before the day starts, which I do that daily and at night and when I go home from work. So as I started my team and I wasn't making enough money, so I go out and start a brokerage. So I started my brokerage. And again, I did everything you did. I recruited agents. I got to 120 agents. There was one commonality with all of that. As an agent, I was making a lot of money, working 80 to 100 hours a week. Anybody working 80 to 100 hours a week on here? Besides Pete. I'm the only one. No wonder why I was a fool. And then I started my team again, still working 80 plus hours a week, but I started all that for leverage and freedom, right? Which is why I started my brokerage for leverage and freedom. And I got babysitting in prison. And it never stopped. And the worst part, when I started my brokerage, my personal sales went down 75% because now I'm managing agents and doing all that stuff. And so fast forward 13 years, I was 56 years old. I know I don't look like I'm that old. I'm 63 now. And basically, you looked at my life and I said, if I don't do something different and drastically different, I'm gonna die soon. My dad died at 58. My mother died at 59. It was a tough time in my life. So I gave up my brokerage, merged with eXp Realty at the time, which I'm here now. I'm managing a group of 2,200 agents, which is a lot of fun. When I turned 60, and for those of you that every 10 years you take a look at your life. When I turned 60, I took a reflection of my life and I realized something really important. I've had a great life, but I realized that everything that was taught to me in the real estate world was a lie. Sell a lot of homes, you'll be happy. No. Start a team, you'll be happy. No. Start a brokerage. If anybody's owned a brokerage, it's a miserable business. And that was all a big lie to me. But the most important thing I realized is that I missed my kids growing up. I can't tell you 5 things that I did with my children growing up. And even though I lost $82 million in 2000, being the online dating service, missing my kids is my only regret in my life. So then you look back at your life and say, why did I do all that? The lie was that I was doing it for my family. The reality is I was doing it for my ego and for me trying to go to the next level. It was all about me. And it's very hard to admit that stuff. But when you turn 60, you're crossing over the last quarter of your life, you start to be really honest with yourself. So then I started looking at all my friends in the business, and all my friends in real estate are working, that are successful, selling a lot of homes. Their lives are miserable. And I realized actually what happens in March of this year, I made a post on social media about the concept of the big lie. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of years. And I had 262 people respond to me telling me how much they hated their lives, all in real estate. And you think about it, that's a lot of people on one post to say, yeah, my life is terrible too. So I blocked out for the next 3 months, I blocked out 4 hours of my day and I wrote the book, The Big Lie. And it was really to show you how you can build a more successful business working 25 hours a week. So now I can show you how to work 25 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, whatever you want it to be, and sell 80, 100, 200 homes a year. It's not very difficult. So that's where it came from. That's why we're here today, is to share with you people that everything we've been taught in real estate, sell a lot of homes, build a team, build a brokerage, is not freedom. And now people ask me, what do you teach today, Mitch? I teach freedom. That's why I got here.
I love it, Mitch. That's fantastic. And by the way, I just saw that Greg Wareham, he just posted to the chat a way that you can engage in that Friday discovery call, guys. Please do that. Back in 1999, I started my own mortgage company. It was called Advocate Mortgage. And while I made millions of dollars out of that organization, the challenges of getting that set up and the capital requirement to really build a mortgage company was off the charts, guys. I wouldn't do it again today. Yet, thanks to Greg, it's plug and play. zero capital investment on your part, and yet you can get your NMLS number with them and you can ring it out. So I'd encourage you to do that. And it's essentially what Mitch is talking about. How do you make more money in less time with less effort? And that's exactly what Crystal and Greg are doing. That's what Jim and Tim are doing. They're just helping you guys increase that production. Now, Mitch, when you turned 60 and you had this epiphany, how did you struggle with the ego? How did you come to the realization that this was your life before and now you made the decision to change? Now, how did you get there, number one? And what was the first thing you did after that?
It actually corresponded with reading a book called called Die with Zero. And if you've not read that book, I highly recommend it because it talks about buckets of time. It was actually really quick. I made that decision. I was a little past 60 when I made the decision because I read this book. It shifted me toward this, where I'm at now. I literally went from one day working 60 hours a week to the next day working 35 hours a week. I said, if I become really good at time blocking, I don't need to work 80 hours a week, 60 hours a week. I can get what I want done in 30, 35 hours a week. And I do that. I would guarantee I work about 60 hours a week in 30 hours. Right. And it's not hard. It's just that it's about being a proactive business person, not a reactive business person. See, most people in our business are reactive. Phone rings, pick it up. Right. I don't do that. You can call me all day long and I'm not picking up the phone. I'm going to call you back in my 15 minutes per hour that I allot to answer phone calls and answer emails. And so it was about being proactive. So I started looking at that. And then I started looking at my life, what I've been doing for a couple of years, which I didn't realize I was doing this, but I was doing this. The biggest time suck in the real estate business is buyers, right? And I'm going to give you a quickie on this as a team leader in your typical team model. And this is how this all shaped. Your typical team model, at least the way I ran my team, I generated the leads. Along with my assistant at the time, this is before ISAs were a big thing, we would work the leads. We would give them to an agent. The agent would go show property. They would come back to me after they show property and say, hey, they want to make an offer on 555 Main Street. I would have my assistant write the offer and they would learn. Because remember, if they're on your team, they're going to be newer. And then I would negotiate the deal so they'd learn how to do that. And then they would go to the inspection and then they would go to the closing. And then I would give them 50%. But two things happen when that happens. One, they don't like you because you're only giving them 50%. They don't like you. They're like, I can't believe you're only giving me 50%. I want more, of course. And I'm doing all the work and generating all the business. And they're mad at me and I'm giving them all this money, $400,000. Say I'm giving them $5,000. And what do they have for overhead? Nothing. I'm paying my assistant, now my ISA, my transaction coordinator, my CRM system, my lead system. I'm paying for all that. So out of my $5,000 I got, I might make $1,000. So several years ago, this happened by accident. I'm really busy.
Let me interrupt real quick. I just want to underline a couple of things that you said because I do not want this to slip through the cracks. Number one, all work expands to fill the time allowed. Okay, we all get this. Give yourself 15 minutes to get through your email inbox. Guess what? You'll get it done in 15 minutes. Give yourself 45 minutes. You get the same amount of work done in 45 minutes. Y'all with me on this, right? And what Mitch is talking about is just refining your process, increasing your focus during your time blocks. You'll work a lot less hours and you'll probably double production in the process because of that focus. Now, this is a learned talent. There's no doubt about that. It's a learned process. It's not, we don't just fall out of the womb and we know how to time block. That's for sure. And I collaborated with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan in the writing of the book, The One Thing. And when you boil that, the learning and the teaching of that book, it's really boils down to time blocking. Yet, first and foremost, you must have clarity as to what you're going to do in those time blocks. Now, the second thing that I want to really address, Mitch, that you've spoken about is that the showing of property being the most time-consuming part of our business. And yet it's also the part of our business that requires the least amount of talent. Would you agree with that, Mitch?
100%. 100%.
Anybody can show a house. My 14-year-old daughter can show homes better than I ever could. I'll promise you that. She'd be enthusiastic about it. And here's the point. The house sells itself. You're never going to convince somebody to buy a house that they don't want to buy. So allowing somebody to take their time and show the homes, I think just makes all the sense in the world. And meanwhile, you reallocate that time that you would have otherwise been showing homes. You don't go golfing. You don't go to the spa. You don't go play tennis. No, you reallocate that time to the 20% effort. So you reinvest that time into practice, lead generation, lead follow-up that leads to more appointments and more contracts to negotiate. So having the discipline to do that is where most people fall down, Mitch. So you'd ingrained yourself in doing the work this way for so many years. How did you, and by the way, was it challenging for you? Did you struggle with making that shift to time blocking and changing from 80 to 100 hours a week down to 35? Did you struggle with that part of the process? How did you form the habit? Talk to us about that.
It was actually really easy. I just made a decision to do it. And literally that simple. I said, all right, my life isn't what I want it to be. And here's what I want all you guys to do. And you'll get this. I want you, if you're happy to look like your houses, after we're done, don't do it while we're talking because then you'd be not listening. I want you to go into your bathroom or wherever you get dressed. And I want you to look into the mirror and look in your eyes. And I want you to ask yourself one question. Are you really, truly happy? And it's a really powerful question. That's how I got to where I am today. I was not happy. I was playing the part. I'm always, if you meet me, you'll know I'm always smiling and you'll never see me not smiling. However, I was in my soul, I was just not happy because I'm working at the time 80 hours a week, 60, 78. It's not fun. So making the shift was really easy. I made the decision. I'd already started doing time blocking, but the biggest thing what I learned was I can pay people to show property for me. And so what I've been doing for several years now is when I have a buyer coming to town, I actually have a buyer coming to town in about 30 days in Merritt Island, Florida, where I live. In fact, a rocket just went off my back right behind me as we were talking. We have the Space Center here. And I'll put an email out to my group. There's 20 agents I have in this group. And I will get 10 of them will raise their hand and they will go shop property for me for $25 an hour. Now, so instead of me being on the road showing property for 3 or 4 hours, I'm going to sit here and talk to you guys while somebody else is showing property. And that was the big game changer for me when I realized that, A, there's plenty of agents that'll show property for me that need cash flow. The $100, $200 it costs me to show property doesn't affect my life whatsoever. But for a newer agent, it keeps them in the business because they're always struggling with cash flow. And that's why they leave the business. So it really wasn't difficult. I watched a video once called Time Management of Billionaires for Billionaires by Chet Holmes. And that is a great video. It's on YouTube. And it got me in that mindset of blocking my time out and making sure that I'm not distracted. Because the problem with time blocking for most people is you're in the middle of doing something, then your phone rings. You pick it up. You don't go right back to doing what you were supposed to be doing. You start going, well, let me check my email while I'm taking a break here. Oh, let me go see what's on Facebook. Oh, look at that guy. Let's talk about him. And the next thing you know, an hour and a half goes by, and now you're just going to go have some bonbons and watch Oprah. So you really, you have to, when you time block, you have to block. And so my email is off when I time block. My phone is off when I time block. And it's all in creating this, what I call the modern team. So my team no longer has agents on my team. My team is an assistant, a TC, and an ISA. And that gives you the freedom to build your business from the outside looking in, instead of being on the hamster wheel, trying to build a business that just frankly never really happens for most people.
Mitch, you bring up a great point. It's interrupted workflow versus focused workflow. In fact, let's go through a quick exercise, everybody. Grab your pen and paper. I trust you've got one. If not, just recognize writing is the learning part of doing. We understand that. And writing things down, you're going to remember them a lot better. Grab your pen and paper. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write as fast as you can from left to right, the numbers 1 through 10. Just write it as fast as you can. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're probably done. Now, right below that, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write the letters A through J as fast as you can. A, B, go right now. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, everybody done? That's a combined total of probably 5, maybe 6 seconds. Now, here's what I want you to do. Turn the page so you can't see it. And here's how I want you to do it. Write the number 1, and then beneath that, write the letter A. Then I want you to write the number 2, and then the letter B. This is interrupted workflow, and I want you to just get a sense of what that does to you and your production. So, ready, set, go. The number 1, the letter A. The number 2, the letter B. Keep going. Now, at about this time, you're going to go, okay, A, B, C, D. Okay, E. And you write the E. interrupted workflow. How many of you guys are getting frustrated right now?
It's great.
Number one, it's more challenging. Number two, it takes more mental energy. And while our brain is 1/50th of our body's mass, it consumes 50% of its energy. So it's important to recognize that when you have focused workflow, you can be 10 times as efficient, because it'll probably take you 15 to 20 seconds to do something that cost you 6 seconds the first time. And it's a very simple example of interrupted workflow. Yet identifying what needs to go into your time blocks. This is critically important because anybody can go through that exercise. Oh yeah, I'm going to time block from 10 to 2. I'm going to do this, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily work that way. Now, you can build out a time block schedule. Sticking to it is going to be one of the greater challenges that you'll ever have. And identifying specifically what are the strategies and tactics that should go into that time block versus this time block. Now, once you've built it, you understand exactly what you're going to do, then it's simply a matter of following the schedule, like your high school schedule. Everybody, let's go back to high school just for a second. First day of high school, you get your schedule. You know that you need to be in this room at this time before the bell rings. Otherwise, you're marked tardy. It can affect your grade. And you're going to sit down. For me, my classes were 55 minutes in duration. So I'd sit down and I would study that one subject for 55 minutes, and the bell would ring. I had 5 minutes to collect my things, get down the hall because I was going to go study a different subject for another 55 minutes, right? Now, my science teacher did not talk to me about algebra or calculus. My history didn't talk to me about home economics, right? The bottom line is that you focused, and we've been conditioned our entire lives to really time block. All of a sudden, we graduate high school, we graduate college, and guess what? Time blocking is completely out the window, especially in real estate. Woo! I'm free. I'm an independent contractor. I don't have a boss. I do what I want when I want. There's 3 reasons people get into real estate. You already know this. Number 1 is freedom. Number 2 is flexibility. And the third is financial wealth. Now here's the challenge. Most people that get into real estate, they choose freedom and flexibility first, and they never get around to financial wealth. So guys, your trajectory is set by your time block schedule. And Mitch, underline that for me. Obviously, going from 80 to 100 hours a week down to 35, you've obviously got to be focused to get the same amount of work done in less than half the time. So talk to us more about that. What are some of the strategies? You said shut off your email.
It's also about being aware. So a lot of time, most people are not aware. So we do an exercise when I bring on a coaching student. The first thing I do is I want them to be aware of their time. So, by the way, and this is a great exercise for all of you. I want you to, what day, Thursday, right? So starting tomorrow morning until next Friday, I want you to track every minute of every day. And if you do this, you'll have a complete picture of your life. And when we did this, I'm going to give you an example. We did this with our agents. I do this a lot, but when I did it with a group of agents, we found that our agents that were successful, I'm talking about agents selling 30, 40 homes a year, and when they actually tracked and these are guys that are all full-time, working 70, 80 hours a week, when they really track their time, they're averaging 3.5 hours a day.
Isn't that the truth?
So,
and now, Mitch,
right,
by the way, let's pause real quick, because when I was 23 years old, I hired a coach. And at this time, I had eclipsed the 100 transactions per year as a buyer agent on a team, right? I'm 23 years old, making $100,000 a month and just loving life, thinking I'm the most efficient person on the face of the planet. I hired a coach, and he gave me that exercise, Mitch. He said, I want you to, here's how he said it. He said, I want you to set an alarm for every 15 minutes. I want you to pause, and I want you to write down everything that you did the previous 15 minutes. I said, you're out of your flipping mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm busy as I can possibly be. And for me to pause every 15 minutes and write down what I just did is a complete waste of my time. So I rejected the idea, rejected it full out, just said, I'm not going to do it. And this guy stayed on me for, 6 months. And finally I said, if you'll just shut up and never bring it up again, I will do it. I'll do it tomorrow. And guys, I took the time every 15 minutes, wrote down what I did the previous 15 minutes. And man, it was eye-opening. I was humbled in that moment, recognizing that I am nowhere close to the most efficient person on the face of this planet, that I was a complete mess. And just like with Mitch, thankfully, I didn't have to wait till I was 60 years old. Yet I was able to find the time bandits, to implement new models, systems, leverage through people, technology, to make sure that I could be as efficient as I could be. And I said, it's just a matter of when is the light bulb going to go off inside your head? And I hope that today is the catalyst to make that happen so that you can wring out every moment you choose to invest in your work life. So thank you, Mitch, for being here, man. Thanks for bringing this to everybody because it's something that needs to be said. It's something that needs to be heard.
It does. It's crazy.
So,
And it's funny, being an entrepreneur, I look at businesses a little bit differently than everybody else. And when I got into real estate, just like every other business, I said, how do I start? And I needed to generate leads. And again, I didn't have any training, so all the stuff I figured out by myself. But there's one commonality I've had in every business I've ever owned, and it's called building a foundation. And what's your foundation, you might ask? It's who's my customer and where are they? So everybody has more business sitting here, can't do it with the screens there, in your phone than you'll ever need in the rest of your life. So I'm going to ask you guys to do something real quick. I want you to open up your phone. I don't know how to do this on an Android. I know how to do it on an iPhone. And go to your iPhone and open up your contacts and type in the chat how many contacts you have in your phone. Because this all comes with how to be efficient in your business. So start typing stuff, and I'm going to look at the chat, and I'll give you like 30 seconds. Actually, get some Jeopardy music going real quick. All right, 2,096, 9,300, 4,000. All right, I love these numbers, and you guys can keep doing that. 9,000. These are great. I'm going to use 1,000 since most of these are more than 1,000. Right. These are all stats that are from NAR. Now, the NAR numbers are actually higher than what I'm going to tell you because I like to set expectations, and I keep my expectations really low. Most of you, if not all of you, have never exported your contacts from your phone and turned that into a list of leads. And has anybody have done that? Raise your hand if you've done that. No one's ever. I deal with thousands. No one's ever done it. Here's the reality. There's only one reason why people will use you as a realtor. We all have all these magic pills and potions and all the stuff that we buy. But the reality is, even with internet leads, I'm known as the godfather of internet lead conversion. I get that down to a science. There's only one reason someone will use you as a realtor, and that's because you happen to be in front of them when they're thinking about buying or selling. Everything else is not true. Back to the big lie. Now, do you have a couple of people that are loyal to you? Yes. I've sold over 1,000 homes, but 975 different customers. When I stopped marketing to my database in 2021, I went from getting 40 to 80 calls every year. The next year, I got 6. The year after, I got 3. I got 2 this year. Right? As soon as I stopped being in front of my people when they're thinking about buying or selling. So again, going back to efficiency and building a solid business, if you export all of your contacts, and by the way, the number is, I forgot to say the number. If you have 1,000 people in your database, that's 70 transactions in the next 12 months. If you have 2,000, that's 140. It's actually higher, but that's the number. Doesn't mean you're going to be their realtor because you're not going to be in front of them. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to YouTube, and there's multiple videos on how to export from both Android and iPhone. I want you to export your database, and I want you to text everybody in there and say, hey, Bill, and you can paste this, just updating my contact list. What's your email address? The reality is 65% of the people in your database will give you that number, that email address. Now you have something to work with. And then what we've done through lots of testing is we know that if you're in touch with them once a week, unless it's listing updates, probably too much. If you're once a month, it's not enough. So I had to come up with the simple things because most people won't do it. So again, you go and export all your people, and then I want you to text, hi, Bill, I'm just updating my contact list. What's your email address? That's simple. The last person I did this with, she did 1,200 people. She got 800 email addresses in a week. Right? And then the messaging is really simple. And again, this is all part of creating freedom. It's a twice a month email. The first one is market update for your area. And the second one, 2 weeks later, is top 10 things to do in your market. That's it. Don't do newsletters. I know people love their newsletters that have a whole bunch of stuff with gardening tips and recipes. Nobody reads them, right? They might open it and you'll see it. We've tracked this stuff. We had newsletters and we tracked, the open rate at beginning was 40, 50%, then 30%, then 20%. And then after time, 5%, because nobody reads them. The reason why we do market updates is something that people like. And the reason why we do the top 10 things to do is because it's things that people like. And then this is the key. You end with this. As a realtor, I work by referral only, and I could really use your help. if you know someone looking to buy or sell a home, could you send me their contact info? Now, there's two things happening in that messaging. One is I use the word really. On a psychological level, that's hugely powerful. Okay. The other thing is I'm asking for their contact info, not saying give them my contact info. If I don't have their contact info, I can't do anything with it. So that's just building your foundation. That's every person in real estate should be doing that from time one. It's so easy. I taught this to 250 people last year, newer agents. You know how many people did it? 5. So are you building a business or a crappy job? Ask yourself that.
Well, it's funny that you're blazing the trail for them, right? The stepping stones are in place, Mitch. Your left foot goes here, your right foot goes there, your left foot goes here, your right foot goes there. And yet they go wander off into the darn forest, right? They get lost and unfortunately die on the vine in the process. So guys, I would take Mitch's advice. I would run with that advice. And you find yourself running to the bank to deposit some commission checks. That's what we want to see happen. Additionally, I would say that is a powerful strategy. It's a simple strategy, and that's what I like about it best. At the same time, I don't think you could get away with doing that once a month, twice a month, maybe twice a year. Yet, what are some other texts, Mitch, that come to your mind that you might be able to follow up with, say, the next month?
Well,
talk to me.
Yeah, so this is email. This is email, not text.
Oh,
the
it's
text
email.
is to get the text is to get the email address.
Gotcha.
That's why we're texting them. The other thing, if everyone wants to do this, I just did this with 100 agents, and we generated 185 leads in 8 minutes. And I actually learned this from Gene Frederick, Shon. If you're on your phone, you text in your phone, I'm in a class right now, we're having a contest, and I could really use your help. If you know someone looking to buy or sell a home, could you send me their contact info? I was having drinks with a friend of mine about 2 months ago. He's complaining because the market's a little tight, and I made him take out his phone and do this. He texted 90 people in about 10 minutes. He got two leads in 10 minutes and sold 2 homes in 2 weeks. I did this at EXPCon the other day. And I was talking about this in my class because I was talking about this stuff. And a guy from England said, I don't believe the thing about the phone. And I said, look, there's a lot of people that want to talk to me right now. I want you to do this text right now. He ended up in 15 minutes texting over 200 people. He got one listing it right there while we were talking and got 9 leads in 20 minutes. So it's working
just
in
a
database.
direct ask.
Yeah, if you do not ask for business, you don't get business. So again, people in our business work on a reactive business model. I don't understand that personally. It's be proactive. Go get the business. It's there waiting for you. It's sitting in your phone, right? And the twice a month email is not too much, and it's different information. It's a market update on the first one. What's the first thing that people ask you when you tell me you're a realtor? How's the market? First thing, right? Every time. And then everybody likes to know what's going on in the area the next month. And now your only job becomes to add a new lead, a new contact to that database. So how do you do that? And this is how I built my business. Remember, I knew 0 people when I got into real estate here, except my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and she lived with me, so she wasn't buying anything. So I've sold probably 3 dozen homes at Publix, which is our grocery store here in Florida. And here's how I did it. I love grocery shopping. It's weird. I get hit on by lots of older ladies. It's fun. And of course, the older I get, the older they are. So now it's 90-year-old women, but it's still fun. But I always look for the longest line. And this is my pickup line. I look at the longest line, whoever's in front of me, I say, hey, how's your day going today? Every time, by the way. And they would say the exact same thing every time. They would say either good or great. Once in a while, you get the, oh, my life sucks. And that was the end of the conversation because I don't want to talk to them. But they say good or great. And then they always 100% of the time say, how's your day? Every time. And I go, oh, I'm in the real estate business, kind of crazy. And what did they say? How's the market?
How's the market?
Every time, 100%. And I say, it's a little crazy right now, and whatever the market is at the moment. And I say, but one of the things I do for my friends locally is I send them an email every month with what's going on in the market. Would you like me to add you to the list? I tracked all this. 80% say yes. So think about this. If you added 1 person a day, which was my goal back then, that's 365 people a year. That's 21 more potential sales each year. Easy. Even a caveman can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I might add a twist to that, Mitch, and I think it's brilliant, by the way. See, so many times the number one question, as Mitch said, is how's the market? You get that all the time. Now, you could give them your opinion. Where's that going to lead you? You got to have a backup like Mitch does. Hey, once a month I send out, or twice a month I send out whatever. And would you be open-minded to that? You get their email address, you add them to your database, and who knows, right? Yet I would encourage you when somebody says, how's the market? Say, that really depends. Are you asking because you're looking to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate? Which is it? See, now you're creating more of a sales conversation, right? How's the market? That really depends. Are you asking because you're looking to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate? Which is it? Oh, by the way, once a month I send out a market update, allows you to keep your finger on the pulse of the market. Are you open-minded to receiving an email from me once a month? Makes total sense, Mitch, man, and I love it. And it's so intentional. To also spin up off of that again, I've got a client on the East Coast. His morning ritual is he goes into Starbucks at 6 a.m. He gives a $20 bill to the barista. By this time, they know exactly what he wants yet. And then he gives them a $5 tip and says, I just want you to deduct $1 off the next 20 people who come through this line. Let them know I'm in real estate. It's from me. And if they have any questions, come over and talk to me. That's a great way to create 20 conversations for $1 a piece. And chances are you're going to pick up a couple of leads. So way to go, Mitch. Keep going, man. Those pearls are just coming at us left and center.
And speaking of Starbucks, because I'm a lead generation guy, I love generating leads. It's fun. By the way, I wrote in the language as a realtor. I work by referral only, so you guys can copy that language for yourself. We have an agent in California who does 30 transactions a year. All he does is he goes to Starbucks every day from 8 to 11, and on the back of his laptop says "Real estate question, ask me." Every day, he does 30 transactions a year doing that. That's it. There's so many ways to do this business. Now, I wouldn't do that because I don't want to spend 3 hours in a coffee shop personally. But if you're trying to do something, that's a great way to do it. And by the way, the best way to increase your price point is to do that. Right? You can pick your price point now by picking the Starbucks in the right area. There's a million ways to do
client,
this.
I just have to say this out loud. I've got a client who's into physical fitness big time. She works out probably 2-3 hours a day. And she wears a shirt to the gym, and on the back it says, "Is your realtor working out for you?" That was pretty darn cute. Yet she creates a lot of relationships and a lot of friendships as a direct result of doing that. Here's the point. Wherever you're at is always the best place to prospect. Always.
We've learned over the years of training lots of agents is most agents won't pick up the phone. So that's why I came up with the email program. I'll give you some numbers on it. That one of my agents did this not too long ago, 400 contacts. She had 6 listings and 4 buyers in 4 months. Right? Easy.
So that's 10 deals inside of 4 months, just using a very simple strategy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Well,
so
motion
it's all about being
emotion. You
proactive.
guys know about that. So as you get into action, I think that's the critical aspect here. Mitch has given you several just ideas that will undoubtedly help you increase your production. Now, the real question is, are you going to get into action? Are you going to take action on what Mitch is suggesting? Here's a guy who's been around the block multiple times. And he's telling you exactly what to do. So it's up to you now to just take control and make it happen. Way to go. Other thoughts, Mitch? Take it away.
So here's the deal. And I love helping people become successful. And this is probably the most frustrating business I've ever had. I've been in 18 different industries. And every one of you can be hugely successful if you choose to be, except you're waiting for stuff to happen. And you can't wait for business to happen. You have to make business happen. And it doesn't mean you have to work hard. It's just that you have to work smart. I was blessed to not have any training at all. Like my first broker said, "I don't train." And I'm like, "That's okay. I'll figure it out." And I remember, and I started on September 10th, 2001. So the next day was 9/11. I said, "What's my weakness?" My weaknesses are I'm really ADD, and I'm going to struggle with contracts. So the next 3 days, I wrote 10 contracts each day. So by Friday, I knew how to write a contract, right? It was really simple. And then on Saturday, I did my first open house. Why did I do an open house? Because everybody told me not to. But I said to myself, if people are coming to me, how can that be a bad thing? And I just came up with this whole open house program over the next 3 months. I sold my first house that day, by the way. So 5 days in, sold my first house. That January, I had 9 closings. Because the other thing that I'll teach you guys, and I think is really important, January 1st should not be the beginning of your year. November 1st should be the beginning of your year. And every realtor I know starts off with January. Starting in January, they have their first closing in March. Always started in November, really pushing hard. My first January, I had 9 closings. I never had less than 6 closings in a January after that. So it's really, you got to change the way you do your mind. And I think that's the biggest part of all this is really coming up with it's a mindset issue. Do you want to be successful? Actually, do you not want to be successful? Do you need to be successful? Let me talk about that for a second, because I think it's really important. I know I go off on tangents, Shon, but just what I do. I've learned that if you want to be successful, you're probably not going to be successful. If you need to be successful, you will be successful. I literally lost everything. I had 3 months worth of revenue in the bank before I had to go bankrupt. And I needed to be successful. So I sold a lot of homes right away. It was easy. Being a realtor was the easiest thing I've ever done, besides paintball and besides the dating service. But being a realtor is really easy. You help people buy or sell homes. As Shon said earlier, there's no sales technique to sell a home. The sales in real estate is prospecting and getting the buyers in the car or the sellers to go see. And you do that by being consistent in your marketing equals consistency, which equals sales. If you're marketing consistently, regardless of what you're doing, you're going to have sales eventually. Unfortunately, most people quit before it starts. So, what else? What do you want to talk about else?
Said, hey, just to make sure that we got this straight, I'm following the chat here. 2 steps to your process in terms of the email. Yeah. Step number 1, though, is to send a text to just state that you're updating your database and wonder if you could get their email address. 65% of the people will respond to that and give you the email address. Then it's 2 emails per month. One is market update, yes?
Yep.
And what are you including there? Is it average days on market, average price per square foot?
It's just whatever the MLS sends you guys. Like every MLS sends you a market update, just copy and paste it. So the top of the email is very simple. And one of the things I do for my friends and family locally is keep them updated on the local market, below the stats for May. Copy paste. And as a realtor, I work by referral only, and I could really use your help. If you know someone looking to buy and sell a home, could you send me their contact info? Second one is, one of the fun things I get to do in real estate is share my top 10 things to do in Melbourne, Florida, where I'm at. And then you go online and find cool things. Don't write the same thing that everybody else writes. Write cool stuff, because that makes people open the email. We're finding that we're consistently getting a 40-50% open rate, which is great for email marketing.
It is. And generally it's 14 to 28%, 30 if you're lucky. If you're getting almost 50% open rate, Mitch, people are obviously finding value in it. Way to go, man. I'm loving it. So let's do this. Let's open it to some Q&A here real fast. And Mitch is a wealth of knowledge. Ask him any question you want, please. What's on your mind, guys? What's that one thing that if you got the answer that would help you become more successful?
And I'm really good at hairstyles also. Gotta have bad jokes.
All right, let's do this, Mitch. Let's rewind.
I have a question. Sorry.
Oh, please take it away.
My question is, where do you farm? How do you determine where to truly farm from?
Sure. Great question. A little different than what we're talking about, but it's a great question. A lot of people spend a lot of money on farming, and they're always farming the wrong neighborhood. The first thing you have to do is, what is the turnover rate of a neighborhood? And nobody does this, but it drives me crazy. I was talking with an agent recently. She said, yeah, I'm spending 500 mailers a month to my neighborhood. I go, great. What's the turnover rate? He goes, what's the turnover rate? And he had a 1% turnover rate. It means 5 homes are going to sell in that neighborhood. Why are you marketing to that neighborhood? I like to have a 6 to 8% minimum, preferably 8% minimum of a turnover rate. Do you understand what a turnover rate is? If not, I'll tell you real quick. So the turnover rate is how many homes are in that neighborhood, and then how many homes are active, sold, contingent in the last 12 months. And that's going to give you the turnover rate. It costs you the exact same amount of money to do a 1% turnover rate as it does a 10% turnover rate. You have a question there in the chat. Mitch, do you choose the properties for your clients, or do you meet with them after showing with the showing agent? That's a great question. When I use a showing agent, here's how I do the transition. Shon, we'll do it together, okay?
Okay.
So Shon, let me explain how I run my business. And I never, by the way, say how I do my job. That drives me crazy. This is your business. Shon, let me explain how I run my business. My superpower is finding your properties for you, negotiating the best deal you'll ever get, and making sure it closes. That's what I'm really good at. And by the way, this is my really again, right? That's what I'm really good at. What I don't do is I don't show property. I pay agents to show property for me, because anybody can open the door, right?
Right.
Everybody says it. 100% of the people say, they shake their head. Make sure you say, you go, that's right. And so that's it. And then I reach out to my agents locally. It's not that difficult. Now, after they show, my assistant will reach out, hey, how'd the showings go? And they'll come back and say, they're interested in making an offer. And then we go from there.
Yep.
And that cost me $100. Right? So think of what's your time value of your money. I charge $1,500 an hour for coaching. So my time value is $1,500 an hour. So if I'm not going to make $1,500 an hour, I'm not going to do it. When I was selling houses, I had to make at least $300 an hour. If I'm not making at least $300 an hour, I'm not going to do it. So why would I pay myself? Why would I do something I could pay someone $25 an hour to, $50 an hour, whatever the dollar figure is in your market, when that's way below what I pay myself to do my job or my work or my business? Okay.
Mitch, I had a question.
Yep.
And you mentioned that. How you doing, Shon? Thank you. Mitch, you mentioned that right now your team, you don't have any agents. Have you found that's worked out a lot better for you as far as managing your time?
Yeah. So just to be transparent, I don't do any of this anymore. I stopped selling houses completely. I don't really have any desire to sell another house. And if I do, you can pull the hairs out of my head. Oh, they're already gone. So yes, what it does, it creates freedom because it's not just the agents. And again, don't take offense if you're a newer agent. I don't mean it to, but the challenge of having a team is not the team. It's the babysitting part of it. It's, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. You get calls. When I had my brokerage, I would average 10 to 15 calls every single day. When I had my team, I had 5 calls every day. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And that's not freedom. I'd be sitting there on a Sunday with my wife, phones ringing all day long. My wife and I would fight all the time. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing it? We're not even making any money and you're not even paying attention to me. So all that stuff's so important. No, I've never had an issue with getting an agent to show property, and they learn from it, and it frees my life. And honestly, if I was selling homes right now, I wouldn't even do listing appointments. I would train someone to do listing appointments the way I do them because I'm really good at it. And I would have them go and I'd pay them a couple $100 to go on a listing appointment for me. And usually, and always what I do is I give everybody a 10% bonus. So if they write an offer on a property they show, I give them 10%, not 50%. So instead of paying out $5,000, I'm paying out $1,200. Right? I'm making more money because this is about my family. Right? And we're all nice. I'm a really nice guy. And that's why I did the big lie crap my whole life, because I'm a super nice guy and I want to help everybody. And the reality is the only people who are hurting from that, besides myself physically, was my family. And Jessica, you mentioned a girl named program called Showami. There's actually a better program out there called Showing Team. Showing Team, you get to define who those people are inside your app on who you're going to use. Where Showami, it's open to whoever's there. Showing is good, by the way, but Showing Team's a little bit better. You're on mute there, Shon. Pete?
Hey, so you guys, this is great stuff. Mitch is amazing with this. And if you're looking at doing this, definitely connect with him and sign up for his program. I did the program with him and I opened another team in Nashville, Tennessee. I moved here with my family recently. And the first listing I received in the subdivision that I was farming was $2 million. And I said, hey, I'm going to use this system that Mitch has. I hired an agent to do the majority of the showings on the listing that I had. The agent also did the broker open house. The agent also met the appraiser. And the agent also did the final walkthrough because I was with my other team in California. Now I paid the agent to do all that around $1,000. And by using Mitch's system, I was able to capture on that sale. The sale was $60,000. So typically I would have split it with that agent. It would have been 30 to me, 30 to them. But instead I paid the agent $1,000. And they were really happy because I paid them on Venmo or in cash every week to help me out, and they needed some money. And I paid them really well. But I was able to keep $29,000 and not do the showings. That's how efficient this works. And trust me, the agents are happy to make that money. So that right there opened my eyes. That was a huge profit margin to my business by doing it that way. And that's how I do it all the time now, because I have multiple teams. So I just wanted to share that testimony, that success story.
Yeah, I'll venue the money, Pete, in a few minutes.
Now you saved me $29,000. You don't.
Hey, Shon.
Listen, you
Shon,
saved me $29,000. You don't have to Venmo me.
There you go.
Shon, you're muted.
Thank you, Rob.
There you go.
Okay, guys, we're nearing the end of our time together. Yet, I do want to inform you that I am personally doing another live launch of Accelerated Breakthrough. Let's call it 2.0. I've learned so much over the course of the last 18 months. This is going to be the first live presentation of this 16-week coaching and training program. I want you guys to check this out. I want you to get the people associated with your organization to check out Accelerated Breakthrough. It's a one-time investment, $347 for 16 weeks of coaching and training, guys. You get a workbook the day before each session. Your time commitment is 1 hour a week with assignments between sessions that are strategically designed to help you double, triple, quadruple your production in real estate sales. So you have nothing to lose, gang, everything to gain, no doubt about that. Mitch, you are the master. I appreciate what you brought to light. Leverage is the key here, guys. Give me a lever long enough. When I pull it, I can change the axis of the earth. You with me? No doubt about that, guys. So models, systems, technology, and what Mitch has been talking about, people. And by the way, EXP Workplace, if you happen to be with EXP, would be a great place to post that. Meaning, I've got a buyer, I don't have time to show the homes, I'll pay you $25 an hour, any takers. You post it to your state group, you probably have 30 agents reach out to you saying, yes, I'll show homes for $25 an hour, which is not terrible. And maybe they show homes for 4 hours, they find the home they want to buy. It costs you $100, guys.
I posted my email address in the chat, so if anybody wants a PDF of my book, send me an email. I'll send you
That's
a
right,
PDF
Mitch.
of my book. Save me
I forgot
$20.
to mention that. Free PDF of the book. The only thing you guys have to do is write a quick review on Amazon, just talking up the book and what you've learned from Mitch today. Talk about how amazing Mitch is. And guys, check out Accelerated Breakthrough. Go to iconcoaching.com and look at the programs tab. And guys, just thanks for being here. Thanks for your focus. Mitch, can't thank you enough. Pete Middleton, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Rob, thank you to you and the team for putting it all together. We'll do this again next month, guys. Looking forward to it. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.